If you've been following us for a while, you've probably seen a few comments saying we're too slow, that we don't know what we're doing, that by now we should already be sailing. But maybe, after today's episode, those people will understand why. Because what you're about to see isn't just us finishing a DIY freezer, it's the final chapter of a project that actually started years ago. When we bought this old sailboat, we honestly didn't have much of a clue what we were doing. We were living aboard on a very limited budget, learning every skill as we went. And that budget is still one of the biggest things slowing us down. We can always work longer hours, but there's only so much money we can put into the boat each month. So while a lot of boat rebuild channels can tackle projects all at once, our reality has always been different. One job at a time, one paycheck at a time, one lesson at a time. Take this freezer for example. When we tell people we've built a freezer on the boat, it sounds like a fun weekend project. Build a box, add some insulation, install a compressor, done. But that's not where this project began. When we bought the boat, there was already an old fridge box built in. There's dirt everywhere. Most people probably would have replaced the compressor, fitted a new evaporator plate, called it good and moved on. Instead, we started digging. And very quickly we realized the whole thing had to come out. Rotten timber and insulation, years of trapped moisture. As messy as it was, this is actually one of the most satisfying parts of any restoration. The destruction. You strip everything back until the boat can finally breathe again. And it's funny because during moments like this, it almost feels like the boat starts talking to you. Like she's quietly saying, "Thank you, I needed that." Then comes the planning. Or at least, what do you think is the plan? Because if there is one thing we've learned, every boat project changes 100 times before it's finished. But eventually, you have to stop planning and start building. And for us, that's always been the hardest part. We're not boat builders, we're not carpenters, we're not architects, we don't have a team behind the camera. Most of the time, we're just two people wondering if we're about to make a very expensive mistake. But then something amazing happens. You make that first cut, you glue that first piece, you install that first panel, and suddenly you start believing you might actually pull it off. One small step turns into another, then another, until one day you look around and realize you're standing at the end of a project that once felt impossible. And somewhere along the way, something else changed too. The people who started building this freezer aren't the same people finishing it. We've gained confidence, we've learned skills we never imagined we'd have, we've made plenty of mistakes, collected countless stories, and yes, we finally have a freezer. So today isn't really about installing the final pieces. It's about finishing a journey that began years ago. And if there is one thing we hope you take away from this episode, is that you don't have to know how to do something before you begin. You just have to be willing to start. Because every skill we've learned on this boat came after saying, "I have absolutely no idea how to do this," and trying anyway. And if you're new here, welcome. Now, let's finish this freezer.
Alrighty folks, alrighty. This is where I left the freezer. Actually further along than I thought. I've got to laminate this, obviously make some fillets for the corners, and then I need to cut out to put plastic strips along the foam. Hold on, I'll go get you an example. So these plastic strips will go along here, and then the lid will sit on top. And in theory, that will work perfectly. In theory. So let's see if we can get the fillets and the laminating done. Oh, not gonna lie people, it's warm. Well no, probably a little bit too much wind in this room. Let's cut the spider legs off. Now to the fun part of hand sanding, trying to make it look pretty. Neating all of this slot up, this area, mainly the corners. I think the laminating turned out pretty well. Yeah, pretty happy with that. I gave it a sand down, got super itchy. Today's mission is just to get it fed. Get a bit of that action. Okie dokie. Little chicks in the boom are getting quite big now. They come to the front of the boom, sit there with their eyes closed, waiting for food. You go up, say hello, and they get scared, run into the back of the boom. Ooh, they scurry into the back. Didn't think this through. We don't have much in the way of rags. And blue roll, no good for this job. Ah, God. Just made a rod for my own back. Idiot. Fed what I can, and I think I'll need to sand and maybe give it another go. Obviously it's all gonna run a little bit. Not overthink it. I think it will be quite smooth once sanded with some fine paper. Yeah, I don't know how good it's going to turn out. I've never made a freezer. Probably have to give it a wee rub down, just because there's some bits of fluff. Yeah, it will do, it will do. Couple more coats and probably seal it up with something. I'm sure that'll be acceptable.
And the second coat of primer is going on. In case anyone is curious, this is the paint we use for most things when we use epoxy primer. It's the one they have at the Chandler's and is pretty good stuff. You can tell because it's really stinky. We had to wait one day because it was Sunday and it was closed to buy a new pot.
It did disintegrate.
Yeah, I told Stuart for epoxy primer you should use fluffy, not mousse, because it disintegrates. This is the one you want for epoxy paint.
I ain't got that much on my hands.
This is going to be the lid for our freezer. So Stuart is about to stick these two together, so it's gonna be a pretty thick lid, hopefully keeping things freezing cold.
Probably good enough. Well, we'll see.
Hello. If you were a tub of ice cream, that would be your view. It's finished. All shiny. You don't want to look too closely because there's a few runs, but I think Stu did an awesome job. Our new freezer.
Next with the freezer is starting to mount everything inside and shape the lid. As you saw, I've stuck it together, so now I've just got to shape it, put the worktop on, cut a big hole and put it together. So I'm hoping with the fridge bits, maybe another week in the galley. You'd think it would end soon, but no, I just love to drag it out. So let me go to the shed, get the evaporation plate, drill a big hole through the wall, and take it from there. So I acquired this evaporation plate off the mechanics, but as you can tell by the shape, it would be better if it's a U shape. So I've been told it is possible to bend it by the fridge guy, but I'm gonna start by seeing if I can take out this plate. Once I can take that out and it's not a total disaster, then I might try and open it up so it's a U shape. I don't know if it's gonna work, but step by step. Okay, first one's out. Okay, it's off, but I've still got the rivet on. I'm trying to do my best not to scratch it. We'll come back to that. So they came off fairly easy. Let's have a look at these three now. Okay, out it came. Nice. Now the fridge guy said to use the heat gun. So essentially these two sides, we're just going like that. All right, 1 for 1. Still got that tiny kink in it. So it goes that way up. It's just not the perfect bend in this corner, but acceptable. Now let's drill this hole. I got this long drill bit and I need to get through the insulation and through the wall. Alright, we're through the fiberglass. Oh. Now. Okay, how straight is that? Probably pretty straight. Okay. Good. Oh. I've moved the battery, so I'm hoping I don't hit anything. That thing comes through. Okay, let's go have a look in the engine room. Oh no, I don't know if you can see, but there is a hole. Huh, beggars belief, I didn't hit anything. Yay! Ooh, smoky. We have a small problem. This is not long enough if I go from both sides to actually get through the wall. So what I need to do is find a bolt that will fit that and then go through the insulation. This is what I managed to construct. We're missing a bit from the inside, but that is freezer, insulation, bulkhead. And pretty long. I want to epoxy inside this little hole. I know what you're thinking, that is some beautiful taping work. They're not super thick. I don't know if this is needed, but hopefully it will save any moisture. It's all closed cell foam. What's that you see? That's another beautiful taping job. Wow. Thank you very much. The resin has now gone off and I didn't make that much of a mess, which is always good. Here's the plate. Here's the tube that needs to go through, but I'll remove the black insulation and then feed it in through the other side. So honestly, I have no idea which is the best way to do it. Let's start by just whipping this insulation off. Okay. How are you doing?
All right. Wait. Okay, keep going. Okay,
Got me through there?
pull a bit more. Stop.
Yeah, I'll come through now. Oh, we're in.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it. Okay, well, that's it, people. Now let's get it all screwed on before we get the insulation on. Huh, that was pretty painless. Okay, one. It's a good start. I'm just looking forward to the day that I catch a big fish. There is the compressor that we made. Kind of butchered it from a load of old compressors, as you do. And we need to get it on that wall somewhere. I made a shelf, but I'm not entirely happy with it. So I might just knock up another one. Need to make it a slightly bit longer shelf. And then it should all sit in beautifully. Insulation. And then make it a bit tight and try and get it through the hole. I'll also have to get the thermostat cable in here. Not cable, little sensor thing. Okay. That's probably enough to get us into the freezer area. Not really fitting. Next option, cut a piece off, get it as tight as possible, and at least get that through the wall. But you've got to try and get it pretty tight. Okay. That's sliding in better. Okay. I think that will probably do. Just a tiny bit there. Let's see if I can butcher a couple of bits of this sticky to join up the lagging, that's the word I was looking for. So we've got the pipe lagging on. I've just made a new board for the compressor. So at some point I'm gonna join it all together, hopefully. That's it, first week's adventure. You're currently seeing me downstairs in the hammock. It's a beautiful place to hang out when it's absolutely roasting hot. I have to start by saying I apologize that it's not finished. I really tried to get the job completed, but yeah, it just didn't happen. So you'll have to stay tuned for next week. We'd like to thank all the people that have subscribed, commented and liked our video, as well as our Patreons. And also thank you to everyone that supports us with the wish list. I just had to lug 10 kilos of rags from the office, and that was pretty good timing because they were about to close and they kicked me out. Stu, time to leave. So have a great week, and hopefully next week we can show you something cold coming out of the freezer. Till next week, goodbye.